to ride, where my mind used to ride. Now pull up beside you, say hop on in, and we'll drive,
Welcome back, it's Chris from the Hagon factory. So this week's video, we've got a Velocette 350 gearbox that's exploded. So the old man's been working on that for a customer. So we'll show you what happened to that and why it actually exploded. And we've been working on the GP 500, so we'll have a look at that as well. We went for a coffee with the Bendigo Old School Motorcycle Club. And this is the new Hagon Factory Workshop dog. This vicious looking thing. This is Bear, Dash Hound. If you've been watching for a while, you know that we had an old whippet. And it was a sad day, but we had to get the old whippet put down. She was 15 years old and she'd outlived everything. The joints, the teeth, everything. So, but this is the replacement. And this week we haven't had much sleep. So, let's have a look. Okay, this is a Velocette gearbox that a guy bought to me the other day. This is a Type 11 gearbox, which was only mainly used in alloy max. Yeah, okay.
Okay, the swing and arm alloy max. Hence, all the gears and everything in these are the same as the early gearbox. Okay, so when they built these for the 500 Venoms and Thruxtons and so on, they're a wider gearbox with bigger, fatter gears. Okay. But they looked like this. They looked almost identical with that big end cover. Okay?
Yeah, okay, yep.
Righto. Now, the guy that bought this to me, he said it was having a little bit of trouble. He said he could get it to go through the gears, but he couldn't get it to come back. And anyway, when I opened the gearbox up, I was absolutely amazed that it did anything because, well, there's first gear.
Yep, she's missing a few teeth.
She's missing a few teeth, and there's the teeth.
Yep, nice. Right in the bottom of the case.
Yep, and there's third gear.
Yeah, wow.
It's also been to the dentist.
Yep.
Okay. Now, he was a bit lucky, the gentleman's a bit lucky, because I had a few of those, so I managed to find one of those for him. And I didn't have one of those laying around, but I took one off this cluster here, which is in quite good condition. And these are a bit hard to get, these gears, so he's going to actually replace that one for me.
Yeah, fantastic. We'll need those.
That'll be good, yeah, because we'll need them ourselves. Now, I've seen the teeth come off the matching gear to this.
Okay.
But I've never seen one like that.
So why do you think that's happened?
Well...
What else did you find?
Right, okay. Well, first of all, what's happened is this is the main shaft in the gearbox.
Yes.
Which has a nut on the end of it, which has got to be tight. And that sits in a bearing. Now, that nut had actually come off. Excuse me. And the shaft had come out and moved up and down like so. As the gears tried to climb over the top of each other.
Yeah, well, that makes sense. It's like it didn't bust the case.
Lucky, yeah, very lucky it didn't do more damage. Because I did one in my racing valet once and it just disintegrated the gearbox. There was shrapnel going everywhere.
It popped the top clean off it, didn't it?
Yeah, it blew the thing to pieces when a similar thing happened, except that the nut didn't come off mine, but the bearing collapsed, which finishes up with the same result. Now, another little thing that's pretty easy to get caught out with in here is that's the centering pawl, which centralises the cam plate so it'll pick up the next gear.
Yes.
Now you can see, if you have a look at this, you might be able to see it in the light there. Can you see the rub marks on there?
Yeah, we can, yeah.
Okay.
Yep.
That's probably from the spring, but it's been rubbing on the side of the case there.
Oh, yes, that wouldn't return to centre then.
So that goes on there. It's heavily spring-loaded, but as you can see, that is actually rubbing.
Okay, so where's the problem there? Is it in that bush or is it on that shaft that it's
on the shaft? So what I'm going to do is I'm going to shim the shaft.
Yeah, okay.
Okay, I'm going to shim it so that it doesn't need much clearance, it just needs to
be free, yeah.
to free, so that when you actually push it, it's heavily spring-loaded with a very strong spring. There's the spring. So it's a really strong spring. Yep. And it'll come back and it'll centralise the cam plate. Now, this is where it actually comes back to. Now, this here, I'm not overly fussed about this, to be honest. This swings in and it goes onto there. Now, it's not to touch the top there, because if it touches the top, it won't centralise. So it actually centralises on those two surfaces there. It's got to come back, it's got to go smack. It's not. But I've never seen one so sloppy, to be honest.
Okay.
But there's no reason why that shouldn't work, because it will hit on those two surfaces there, which are the centralising surfaces, okay? Can you sort of picture why that works?
Yes.
Like if it was sitting on top of there, that could still be anywhere, couldn't it?
It could be, yeah.
But it's got to sit on those two surfaces there.
Flags, yeah.
Yep, and that should centralise it if that's moving freely and not getting stuck.
Yeah.
So we'll make sure that that's all right. We'll put all that back together. Now, I don't know whether the camera's good enough to look in there, but you can see all the shrapnel and everything's still in the back of the gearbox. Yeah, we can see all the rubbish in the back.
There's lots of stuff.
There's bits of teeth and there's alloy and brass.
He didn't bust that case.
He was lucky he didn't bust the case. Yeah.
How does everything else look?
Look, this is the new cluster that I've built up with the gear off there.
Yep.
And the other first gear that I had. Okay. And that gear is that one there. Now, everything else is good. I actually had to machine the bush a bit, because these seem to vary a bit for some reason. I've often had to do that. When you put new bushes in, when you press that gear on, it locks that up.
It up, yeah, okay.
Because the bush is too thick, okay?
Okay.
So, but I've got all that. I'm pretty happy with all that. So, yeah, I think that's the new cluster for him anyway.
Yeah, fantastic. So this should be a pretty quick turnaround then.
Yeah,
You should get it back pretty quick.
It will be, yeah. So I just haven't had a real good look at all the other gears yet, but I haven't found any.
You'll be pretty lucky.
Yeah. I think that's all good, see? There's nothing appears to be damaged there. And everything looks all right.
So what year's this bike? What's it out of?
It's out of a swinging Mac, alloy Mac.
Yeah.
Which is same as one that I had.
Yeah.
Me and you did miles on it.
Yeah, we did, yeah.
Yeah, well, it's the same bike as that. It's about 54 or 55 or something like that.
Yep.
Yep, so, that's all good. So, I think once we get all this back together, we free that up, make sure that's not rubbing on the case. That's the pawl that actually engages the cam plate.
Yes.
That's got a fair bit of movement in it. I'll adjust that up a bit too. That's got to be the same though. It's got to be free. It's got to be nice and free, but it's got a bit of wobble in there, so I might just pop another shim in there. Now, these are a bit adjustable because they're threaded in the gearbox.
Yes, and got the
and they've got a lock nut on the outside.
Yeah.
So you can wind them in a little bit, and you can get a bit of that movement out of it. The clutch actuating mechanism is in really good condition. That's all excellent. There's no problem with any of that there. That's all good. The selectors look good. They don't look bent or anything.
Nice and straight, yep.
Yeah, you just got to have a bit of a look at these. Make sure they're not bent. And the little pins there are okay. Another little trick with these gearboxes, which is the guy that owns it has actually already done this. On the cam plate, they're usually razor sharp edges, and you polish all the sharpness off that side of the edge, and that allows that pin, that little pin on the back of it, that makes it slide in there and over that surface. And if you've got all those sharp edges off it, it glides through, and the gear change, it does improve the gear change.
And wear that pin out either, will it?
No, it really improves the gear change if you polish those edges.
That last bit of a tidy up.
Yeah, so, but everything else looks pretty good. I think I'll just make those couple of adjustments on the pawls, and then I'll put it all back together.
Fantastic.
And
another gearbox done. You've done a few lately.
Yeah, Yeah,
Had a bit of a run?
I've had a run on gearboxes. Yeah, but no, that's that'll be all right. That gearbox will be all right.
Ah, that's good.
He'll be okay with that.
Yeah, excellent.
We'll get him going, get him back on the road. He needs it. There's a couple of rallies coming up, a couple of road rallies, and he was very concerned that he wasn't going to do the single cylinder rally out at Alley.
Oh, yeah, when's that coming up?
Oh, I don't know. Not sure about that. It usually interferes with something else we do.
Yeah.
Like around Easter or something.
But, yeah, I can't remember when that's on. Oh, no, it's not winter.
No.
So,
No.
yeah.
But hopefully we'll be able to go to it, but we'll see what happens.
Yeah, well, even if we can't go out there for the weekend, we'll go and have a look anyway.
Yeah.
Go and get a bit of footage out there.
Yeah. And these are all new bearings in this gearbox too.
So someone spent a few bucks on this.
Well, he did himself.
Yeah, okay.
But anyway, we had that bit of a tragedy with that nut coming undone.
Yeah, yep.
And that's
Well, that can happen though, can't it?
Well,
to the best of us.
It can, absolutely, it can. So I might put a little bit of breakable Loctite on it this time, just to make sure
it's right.
Yeah, make sure it can't find its way off. Yeah, the breakable Loctite's really good because it's almost like a hard sort of glue, but it doesn't set hard. And when you've got to get the nut off, you've got to wind the nut off all the way. So it can't shake
It
off.
sort of works just like a nylock nut.
Same deal, just like a nylock nut. And I've found it to be fantastic. Yeah. If you've got a lock tab on something and you can't get a lock tab or something like that, that breakable Loctite will work.
Fantastic.
Yeah. Okay, so yeah, I'll get this back together the next couple of days, and we'll get him back on the road.
Fantastic. He'll be wrapped.
He will. Yep. Okay, there's another little interesting thing here that is a modification I've done myself a few times. But this bearing in here, it's I always reckon those bearings are too small.
Yeah. Okay.
But anyway, it would have been better if that was a bigger bearing. But that's another story. But on these particular gearboxes, they're held in with a circlip in the back there. Where on the Macs, the earlier Mac boxes, there's a big screw in
Retainer. Yeah.
retainer that holds it in, and they don't give any trouble. But I have seen these circlips pop out.
Really? So it's not very deep, or is it the tension?
Yeah, and the groove gets a bit worn. People
worn,
pulling them in and out and not doing them with the right tools. And,
Yeah, exactly. Yeah.
You know, I have seen that circlip come out. So a little modification that I have done myself, I notice it's already been done on this one. Pop that in there, and you put the little end cover on.
Oh, yeah. So that holds everything in place.
It does, and nothing can get out.
Yeah, nice.
It can't get out. See, that just goes on like so.
So someone who had to go at this gearbox knew what they were doing at one
They
stage.
had a few good ideas. See, that just goes in there, and that pushes against the circlip.
Yep, and that's
that's
above the case, and it's got a recess in the
Yeah,
cover.
and that's it.
Yeah, it's good enough.
And that's it, and it holds it in. I would recommend that for anybody with one of these big end cover gearboxes, like even a 12 series box, to do that. That would be something I would recommend.
Yeah, and that's an easy job too.
Just machine up an aluminium bush and pop it in the hole. It doesn't have to even be that accurate. Just as long as it
No,
goes
it's
in.
not pressed in or anything.
No.
It just stops the clip from jumping out.
Stops the clip jumping out and stops the bearing moving around and doing damage.
Yeah, no, that's good enough.
Yeah, that's a good little mod.
That's an easy fix.
It is. Yeah, that's a good little mod. I think everybody, if you're doing up your gearbox, another 5 minutes work, it's well worth it.
Yeah, no, that's good.
Yeah. Okay.
Let's go get high, forget this town, and we'll drive.
Okay, as you've seen before on the Grand Prix Triumph, there's lots of little tricky factory bits. The crank was highly polished, and I've just cleaned up a couple of the rockers. I've stripped one rocker box, and as you can see, they're highly polished finish. That's factory finish on those.
Yeah, nice.
So another little tricky item.
How'd all that stuff look?
It's in good condition because it's only done a few miles, I suppose, race miles. Like it hasn't done thousands and thousands of road miles.
No, well, you could see that by the state of the engine, couldn't you?
like
The rest of it.
everything.
Even from the outside, you could see it hadn't done much.
But there's no wear, you know, none at all.
Yeah, fantastic.
Yeah, like that's as good as you'd get it. You would never want them any better than that.
Yeah.
You know, that's as good as you'd get it. So I'm very happy with that. I'll have to track down some adjusters. I'm not very happy with the ends of the adjusters. They've been pounded a bit.
Yep.
And there's a little bit of something here which is worth noting too. There's been a little bit of damage there. See how that's burred? And it's got oval sort of holes like
Yeah,
swing.
but one of the wasn't one of the blocks in crooked?
Yes, correct. One of the tappet blocks was in crooked.
So that could be the end result from that.
That could quite possibly be what's caused that.
Yeah.
But like, that's not we'll just dress that up. It'll be fine.
Yeah.
But just to show you what can happen if things aren't quite right.
Yeah, because that was out a little bit, wasn't it? So that's probably enough for the push rod to...
Yeah. Yeah, and the bottom of that tappet adjuster too has been banging a bit too. That one's probably not so bad, but that one's been banging away.
Yeah, okay.
Just check these. I've taken them out, sorry, I wasn't the wrong bit. Here we go. Yeah, that's probably not too bad. And that one's had a fair old whack. I don't know whether you can see it or not there.
No, we probably can't get in that close.
Yeah, but it's quite damaged there.
Yeah, okay.
Yeah. So, but you can buy all that, so that's no problem. Now, just for an interest's sake, I bought a complete set of head bolts. There's a couple sitting in the motor and another one on the bench over there. But anyway, the Grand Prix head must be thicker than a Tiger 100 head because these are all too short.
Yeah, right.
By a fair margin, like by 3/8 of an inch or whatever that is in mil.
Yeah, yep.
Yeah, so they need that much more on the thread.
Yep, no worries.
Nearly half an inch, really.
Yep.
Yeah, so by the time you put a washer under the head, yeah, they probably need a half-inch longer bolt. So there's not too many alternatives. I'll just phone around and just see what the story is. A couple of blokes that I know have got Grand Prix triumphs. We'll try and find out what's happened there. The alternative is if we can somewhere get a piece of hexagon and lift the machine up a whole set of bolts, which, you know, we can do, but it's just a bit of a pain.
Yeah, well, we should be able to get a bit of hex somewhere. But,
I don't know where you get hex these days, that size. But anyway, I suppose somebody supplies it
no,
somewhere.
we'll be able to find it.
Yeah, somebody will supply some somewhere. No problem. All right, well, that's about the latest update.
And the engine, we just set the engine in the frame.
Yep.
So we've got a couple of photos of that.
And the little rocker box caps, these are always mutilated and they've always had a hammer and chisel treatment, but these haven't. They're
The original ones, yeah.
They're the originals and they're all pretty good. They're all quite usable. So that's good too. Yeah.
That's really good.
Yeah.
Moving forward.
And ain't it a pity we didn't get out sooner, baby? I'm sick of your lonely heart always crashing on my door. And I pretend I'm someone I'm not, and I'll meet you in that parking lot, right in the exact same spot where my mind used to rock, where my mind used to rock.
Righto, same as every other week. If you like what you see, like, subscribe, tell your friends, tell everybody. Let's bring Hagon's back.